loosen this one. So that's good. I can get this one. What's gonna happen is we're gonna loosen this. Then it's gonna fall down. It's on the pulleys. My goal is just want to get. Let me get this cover out of the way. Good. Hold it up. Doesn't go anywhere. That out of the way. Now, should be able to whack that away, I think. Yeah. Just gets that out of the way. Now, this is sitting on that. I'm gonna be a little unstable here for a minute. That's gonna allow me to get the grill out of the way now that I can reach it. Alright, we got that. Or out of the way. Look at that. Nice. I'll go ahead and see. Pop this line off. When I got this tractor, I did swap this line out in this sediment bowl filter in here. I did replace these and clean the carb. When I got the tractor, actually was running really freaking good, so I didn't have to do much to it. But now we are gonna do the actual what I want to do to it and give it the full tear down. Got this in here. However, I can get it in here. Get this in here. Loosen this up. Oops. Very delicate. Fucking 40-plus-year-old hardware here. In order to get this strap out, you actually have to remove it completely on this side, because it doesn't slide over, because the sediment will in the way. So, you gotta completely remove this bolt to get this strap out of the way. And this bolt is in rough shape too. It is all bent to shit. If you can see that, but pretty bent, pretty messed up. So, go ahead and pop this out, or at least try to maneuver this here out. Bring it around like this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I'm gonna save this bolt for future reference. That. Alright, I'm gonna pop the other side off and then get the tank out of the way. Alright. Go ahead and get the fire hazard out of the way. Alright, that opens up a little bit of room for us. Actually kind of starting to get into here a little bit. So, next I'll get the battery, cables out of the way. Kind of get everything off the motor, I'll unbolt it, and then I should be able to get the belt out and just lift that right up out of there. And then we'll kind of carry on to the back end here a little bit and go from there. Alright folks, we kind of skipped ahead a little bit. I got everything disconnected off the engine. Throttle cable, wiring. So everything's disconnected there. Got the battery out. So now we just gotta undo our mounting bolts. And then I think I can take this motor and rock it back a little bit to get the belt loose. And then I should be able to just pull this right off out of the way. And then we can work on the voltage regulator rectifier deal there. Work on that. Maybe get this front axle up out of the way. Get that out. And then kind of just start working our way back on this old girl. Now eventually we'll kind of get to the rear end here. I want to get the axles off because the axle seals on the outside are leaking. Bearings are shot. So those need to get done. And yeah, steering wheel at some point here. And yeah, keep stripping it down. So I'll crawl under this engine, get this sucker out. Alright, correction. I did a lot of skipping again. This axle was totally getting in the way, so I just got done unbolting it. Pulling this right out. The steering rack system here. So that's really simple. Just the axle pin in the front there. Nothing washer on this side. You pull it out through there, and then you unbolt your tie rod from your steering linkage there. For that side, you unbolt it there so you can drop it out of the way. Because the bolt won't go past the tie rod, providing that your tie rod's not bent to shit. If it's nice and straight, it'll be in the way. But if it's bent, it'll probably pop right out. And then you unbolt it in there, and you climb under here. You undo it from your steering linkage, wherever it is, or you can't see it right now, but it is under there. Oh, it's right here. Yeah, so your steering linkage right here, you unbolt it from that, and pop the whole thing out. So now I can actually gain access to these front two bolts. The one in the front there, the one in the front there. Back one's easy enough to get to, but now I can actually get to them. So we'll carry on with our mission here. Okay, so after fighting here for a little bit, I got our 3 mounting bolts out on the motor here. And fortunately, this one, the nut is stripped on the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out just to save on time and quit messing around. And then we can proceed to get this sucker out of here and keep going. Alright, so got cut out. Well, cut the bolt out, punched it down a little bit. I'll go ahead and lift this motor out. I got the pulley, I'll belt off the pulley, and look at that. Nice little lightweight motor action, not bad. Let's see, go ahead and whack that out. Got that out of there. We're looking good. We're stripping this son of a bitch down. That was very, very stuck in there. And it looks like it was actually kind of welded. Let me kind of show you here on the camera. There are a couple of breaks on the backside, so I'm assuming that was welded on. And it's weird because all the other bolts spun. All the other bolts and nuts. Welded nuts, but as you can see too by looking at this, it's very well rounded out. So unfortunately I had no bite on that, so that's a trash bolt, but we're looking good. Alright, another skip ahead quick update here. We got all the electric shit out of here, out of the console and the tower. So everything's stripped out of there. That's gone. There's the old freaking old seal there for the steering shaft. We just got these bolts undone down here on the tower. So we're going to work on pulling that up now, which it should. Just pull it right up out of here. Pretty much for the most part. I might have to fight around this. I might have to get this out quick. Get that out. And it should just lift right up out of there. And then we're making some pretty good progress. So once that's out, maybe I'll take the seat off, maybe the hitch. Work on the controls down below, get that all stripped and pulled away, and we'll keep going. Alright, we'll go ahead and work on getting this off. So I'm just gonna grab a pick and just pick around that. Now, I imagine this will be fairly easy to get out because I already replaced this. Once, so I'm hoping I can just push it through like this. Just like that. Push it through here. Like that. And then just take this, slide it up like that. And then that's intact still. The tower's off. I'll go ahead and also kind of show the camera here for better detail. How we got some rot going on here and a crap ton of pitting. This is a pretty famous spot where these Cub Cadets ride out, is on the bottoms. Lots of debris sits in there and then they just eat away. But I'm pretty amazed how intact this thing still is even after how old it is. Because this is a 1963, so we're light years ahead of this thing's life expectancy, I think. But this thing is doing A-okay. So, lots of goo going on here. Well, not goo, but just a lot of dust, a lot of crap. Lots of not good. Lots of not good going on here. But it is good too, because we're making a lot of progress. These tractors are super simple to tear down. And this is my first one. I've never worked on one of these. But I was like, you know what? This would be a perfect tractor to restore. These are super simple. There ain't nothing to these things. Not like my Boland's 1886 or my 1872 Super Cub or my Case 446. All those are a little more hard to work on versus this. This thing's as simple as it gets, because you know what? It's the very first garden tractor ever made by International. So let's keep going. Alright, next step, just get the steering gear out of here. Just come right up out. There's just two bolts coming right through there. It's pretty self-explanatory. So, got our steering gear out. Oops, don't want to lose those. Just a couple of fabric washers, I like to call them on this. They just fell off that, so you don't want to lose them. But we are really getting down to it now. It is getting close. So my next step is I'm going to take these foot pegs out. It's going to be my next move here, I believe. So there is two bolts on the side of the frame here. On the other side, same thing. And then underneath, up under the frame, there's a bolt right here in the front as well. I believe that is just threaded right in there. So get those out of the way, and then from there we're going to work on clutch disassembly. I believe we're going to get down into that, or I'm going to take the seat off next. I might do that next, just to kind of clean things up a little bit more. But I'm going to take these off, And yeah, we're gonna go from there. So. Never hurts to have a little blaster in your life. Let's spray this down. This down. I'm going to hit these other bolts on the other side. We're going to need them. Alright, once you get the 4 bolts out for each side there, so for your foot pedal, go up here, 9 bolts there. You can do the other side, same thing. You also are going to have 2 bolts right here, one frame there, because that is holding this adjustment up. So you got to get that off to get that out of the way, and then this whole handle should be able to just drop right down through and right out. And then that's out of the way, and then all that's left on the actual chassis is my clutch assembly. And then once that's out, you can disconnect that part from the rear end, and then that's pretty much that. Alright, so obviously we got the handle out, foot pedal, that's all sitting right there. But we got that out, and I had to lift the frame up and hold it up in the air, pull it out from under there, get it out. So next step, getting your clutch assembly out. This is the fun part, at least what I've heard. So under here, you're gonna have a let's see, turn the light on. Yeah, so you're gonna have 2 bolts here holding this carrier bearing in, and then you got an Allen key on that. That is gonna be very tricky, because if you cut that, then your drive shaft's too short, and then you're gonna have that problem there. So with that being said, you gotta get these 2 bolts out here, over here. You should be able to drop that out. Once you do that, there's a pin over here. You got a pin. You can pull that out of there, so that's for your spring tension on your drive shaft there for your clutch. So a couple pins you gotta pull. There, you can pull this one right here. Right here. You can pop that out, and that's your linkage that goes back to your clutch pedal itself, which is going to be here. So, and then also it is your brake linkage. So you're going to have brake going on up here, going back to through there, out to the rear end right there. So you got to disconnect this. So I will disconnect it from your pedal, disconnect it up here as well. That is going to pull your clutch pedal out of your way, so you can pull that right out. Get these 4 bolts, and then in theory the whole thing should just drop right out, actually, if you want to avoid taking all this apart, which I kind of would recommend doing. So just take the frame bolts out on each side, and then you'll be able to just drop this all right out, and then you can get this on a workbench. You can work on that effectively and not ruin your drive shaft, because these Cub original drive shafts are pretty hard to find. So we'll carry on. We'll keep disassembling here, and then we should be able to separate the frame from the rear end soon. And we're going to have almost completely disassembled Cub besides the rear end. I'm going to leave this together for now until I have parts for that. So in the meantime, we're going to get this apart. Alright, I just want to go over this again before I pull it out. So, drive shaft bolts disconnected right there at the rag joint. This pin is out right here, and then everything else is on the assembly. That bolt on the frame's out there. These 2 bolts over here on this side are out, and should be able to just take this whole thing and pull it right out of the way. Well, that's all that takes right there. So we're looking good. Now we can go ahead and move on and pull this out. Alright, for our next trick, for getting the clutch pedal out, this could be a little tricky, but we'll work through it. So if you look under here at your assembly, you're going to have a couple roll pins. Got a roll pin there, got a roll pin there. So once you pop those out, you should be able to slide this pedal right up out of there. And then once that pedal's out of the way, and you get that roll pin, this whole thing will drop out. And then when that drops out, you can get this out, this apart right here where the spring is. It'll loosen up the spring enough where you can move it and then get that out of the way. Pull that out, or it's either that or you can disconnect it back here. So when that's disconnected, completely separated on your threads right there on the linkage, if you separate that, you'll be able to just take the assembly and pull it through the frame and just out this way. So a couple different ways you can go about doing it, but either way, you got to get these roll pins out next. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll move on. Alright, here's a life hack for you for working on your Cub Cadet. Stand it straight up. I got it ratchet strapped to the ceiling here, so when you're done and sick of crawling around on the fucking floor, just get under here where you need to be and work on what you need to work on. So I just figured that out. I'm trying to fuck around under there. I was like, you know, there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be an easier way to do this. So I found an easier way. So whenever you strap your tractor to, make sure it's secure and it ain't gonna go anywhere, because you don't want this fucking thing falling on your head, that's for sure. Looks like I need a smaller roll pin. Well, smaller punch, I should say. I thought that punch was reasonably sized. Apparently not. I ain't really doing nothing. Good spec here, so. Well, more than likely, this is gonna fight you all the fucking way through. There's no doubt about that. Getting these out is not gonna be easy. That's for sure. But gotta do it somehow. No. Do not. Alright, we've made it this far now. We're looking pretty damn good. So we're gonna end the final steps here for my evening. I'm gonna go ahead, while it's up in the air here, I'm gonna take these two bolts out, that one there and there. That way I don't have to crawl back under here. And then when I take them two out, or I'm gonna loosen them, actually I'm just gonna leave them loose. I'm gonna set this back down, put my blocking under my rear end here, so that can be held up in the air. Take that and that, then the whole frame is separated from the rear end. So once that's separated, then we're looking pretty damn good. And I'll take the seat off just because, and I'm calling that an evening. So that'll be part 1 of Cub Cadet disassembly. Let's finish this sucker up. Well, frame is officially off. Now we're just down to a rear end. So, looking pretty damn good. I'm going to go ahead and just take that seat off. And that will be it for this video. Ooh, there we go. Well, that's it for disassembly. At least for tonight. So, made a lot of progress tonight. Got plenty done here. So, yeah. Hopefully stay in tune for part 2. Probably it's going to be either priming stuff, getting things, well, prepping things, getting things ready for paint in the future when it warms up, or it's going to be taking this rear end apart as far as doing axle seals and bearings and stuff in the rear end, maybe changing fluids in that. Same thing with the motor here, giving this an oil change, pulling the rest of the stuff off of this, getting the covers off, more stuff, just kind of getting ready for the painting process and cleaning up. So hopefully everything all turns out pretty good. But thanks for joining me tonight. and watching me tear this good old tractor apart. So hope we see you guys for part 2.